Do you know how to set the direction for your product? Can you figure out how to do this in a confusing, complex environment full of bureaucratic mumbo jumbo? I'm going to show you one of my favorite tools for product managers working in big, complicated, bureaucratic companies. Let's talk about product principles. What is going on? My name is Alex. On this channel, we talk about getting into the product management career, crushing your interview, and leveling up your product skills. Today, we're talking about setting product principles. By the end of this video, you're going to know the essential ingredients to crafting your very own shiny new product principles. This doesn't have to be as complicated as it sounds. We will make it easy. I'll walk you through all the steps that you need to do. I'll also walk you through some best practices on actually using these product principles. Make sure you stick around to the end of the video to find out. If you like this video, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell for notifications. But also subscribe to my product management newsletter, link in the description below, where you and I can be in touch and I'll share some of my favorite product principles and applications. Product principles are a set of guidelines that help you and your team understand and communicate what your product is and why it exists. They also help you and your team make decisions on what you should be working on and in what order. Why do we need product principles? First, it'll give you a guide, a framework you can use to help you make decisions that are related to the product and business. You don't want to have to invent a new way of tackling every problem, of making a decision of whether you should do A or B, of understanding what's best for your product, customers, and business. And a set of product principles will allow you to do just that. First, it'll help you get alignment with your team on what it is that you're doing and why it's important. Second, these principles will help other teams you're collaborating with build their future plans with you and your product in mind. First, I should say, don't let this be intimidating. You can actually follow along, open up a new document, start writing. The first draft could take you 15 minutes. It could just be 1 page long. The idea is to get your thoughts down about the fundamentals and then share it with other people as soon as possible. Other cross-functional folks, other people you're working with, whose opinion you want on crafting these product principles. The faster you can agree on these principles together, the faster you can all work better together. When you're all rowing in the same direction, you're obviously going to go faster than if people are all going their own direction. If you're onboarding to a new product or team and you're having trouble understanding how to make decisions and there are no principles in place, go ahead and draft some of your own and propose it to the lead PM. And if you are the lead PM and you have no product principles, go ahead and open up a new doc, Command T, type in doc.new and just type that in. No, don't ask GPT to write these principles for you. Just write your own 3 or 4 principles, things that you think are important. We're going to get to how to do this. But for now, if you are the lead PM, please put together a draft of principles, basic ideas about the product and your business and your customers that you think are true. Product principles should make sense within your overall product vision. That is, your vision should flow into your principles. Once you craft your principles, they could live together with a vision doc. If you have no vision doc, that's fine. Start somewhere. Principles, vision. We'll talk about what a vision doc is for your product in a separate video. For now, you should know that the vision and the principles could potentially live in the same doc and be part of the same idea. There is a big difference in the effectiveness of the team that is aligned on a set of product principles and one that is not. The speed with which decisions are made, the velocity of releases, the confidence of the team, all of that will improve dramatically if you have a set of shared product principles in place. All right, let's get to writing the product principles. See if you can follow along with me. Open up a new tab, start writing there. Pause the video as needed, rewatch as needed. Let's just craft these together. Don't just passively watch. If you don't have a product right now, you might be running a business, you might be running a startup, you might want to write some principles about the projects in your life. Fine, just write something down. And let me know in the comments if you've been able to craft some principles as a result of this video. First, these principles don't have to be exhaustive. Don't get into the trap where you're thinking, if I don't cover every single thing, then it is better not to do it. No, that's not right. Any principles are better than no principles. You don't have to be exhaustive. You also don't have to have many principles. There's no forcing function here. There's no magic 3, 5, or 7, or 10. Write as many as you think are needed to get your point across. What is it that you want to say about your business, about your product, about your customer interaction? Don't force it. Don't write something that you think should just be in the product principles, something that sounds cool. Only write stuff that actually relates to your product or business. Don't use ChatGPT to write your product principles because it will just give you some 10 generic principles and that may lead you to the wrong direction. Instead, let's use this. Let me prompt you, human GPT. I'm going to prompt you right now. Here it is. Prompt number 1. What is it that you're doing in this product? Think about what you're actually doing. Tell me, how would you like to build product? What is your product about? What does it do? Why does it do that? Think about how you'd like to approach product developed? Slowly and carefully, or quickly and dangerously? Think about who you're working with, internally and externally. Think in detail about your customers. Who are they and what's important to them? How can you translate that to some aspect of product development? Think about your company or business. What does it stand for? What is important to it? If you've already got some sort of a mission statement or a vision, then you can definitely feed off of that or see where it aligns with the stuff that you're building. Think about any qualities or aspects of the product that you care about or that you think are important. There's no right or wrong answers here. It's just your thoughts about your business and product. Think about the design principles. Think about what it's like to make design choices. What do you think about when you're designing a new feature or you're redesigning a part of the product? Think in detail about your team interaction, collaboration. How do you work together? What are the difficulties? What are the strengths? How can you leverage those strengths? How can you minimize those weaknesses in your product development approach? How do you make decisions? How would you like to make decisions? What type of frameworks would you like to use? What is your approach to making decisions in general? Do you need everyone to agree? Or is it enough for just some people to agree? If so, who and why? Write multiple drafts of this. Iterate often. Start out with large drafts, lots of different things you care about, and then eventually refine down. Get rid of the stuff that doesn't matter. Solicit input, but first write that rough draft. Write the first draft so there's something there. Don't say, hey, everybody, give me your ideas for product principles. Now, give them something to work with. Also, they may not know how to write product principles, how to suggest product principles. Once you give them a guide, here's some stuff that I'd like us to think about. Involve your team early and often. At the end, as you're refining, continue to remove the stuff that is unneeded. Michelangelo famously said that every block of marble, he already sees the statue. He just removes the extra elements from those blocks to produce the sculpture. If you have quite a lot of elements, you can remove the unnecessary stuff to arrive at something that is true and something that people agree on. By the end, you should have as few as possible of these product principles. You can test this by removing each and seeing if the product still represents what you want it to represent. If you've removed one now and you feel like an important piece is missing, that's a great indication that that's a principle that should stay. Depending on the size of your product, refine this as needed. For agile teams, this could be quarterly. For bigger teams and bigger companies, this could be annually. By the way, I would recommend doing this even if you're running a startup or a one-person operation. Just have the main ideas of what it is that you're building and why and how you'd like to build it. Even just one sentence, I would like to build as quickly as possible, enshrined as the product principles, will help you make better decisions for every part of your business. Don't skip this step. People don't define what is necessary enough. Oftentimes people are working, but without goal setting, they're sort of working in the wrong direction. Your product principles are like a guiding light for you and your team, telling you which direction you should be headed. And if you review the product principles and you realize they no longer represent what you and your product stand for or want to stand for, then it's a perfect time to refine those principles so that you actually do know where you need to go. So don't get stuck. Make sure the principles always represent you and your team and your product and tell you exactly where you're trying to go. The video is almost over. Take a pause right now. Craft some product principles. Craft 3. Just write 3 things that you think are true about the business, the product, the customer interaction, or your team. Just right now, pause the video, write it down. We're all sitting there. We all understand, yes, we should have product principles, but for some reason, hitting Command T, opening up a new tab, typing in doc.new or going into Notion and writing a new document, just writing those 3 sentences is extremely difficult. Get over that line. Just do it right now. All right, you got to get involved. This is product management after all. I want you to do this stuff. All right? I'm going to share with you now a quick example of the Apple principles, early principles. And you tell me if the products that Apple does now still stands for those principles. This will give you a great example. Check this out. The Apple marketing philosophy stressed 3 points early on. This is maybe like 50 years ago. Very early on. The first was empathy. We will truly understand their needs better than any other company. You can definitely feel that Apple still tries to embody this. The second was focus. In order to do a good job of those things we decide to do, we must eliminate all of the unimportant opportunities. You can see that in Apple's decisions in the last 4 or 5 decades, where they've really tried to focus on core areas of their business. They do not easily expand into other product areas or business opportunities, even though they very much could. Slowly and methodically, they keep working on the things that they think are the most important. So focus has certainly been a key tenet for Apple all these years. The third principle is called impute. People do judge a book by its cover. We may have the best product, the highest quality, the most useful software. If we present them in a slipshod manner, they will be perceived as slipshod. If we will present them in a creative, professional manner, we will impute the desired qualities. So the idea there is that everything that Apple does is extremely high quality, professional. The details are extremely important to Apple and have always been. And that makes the products and the services look like extremely high quality products and services. Hopefully you've been following along. You've crafted a few product principles for yourself and your team. If you did, leave a comment below. Let me know. I would love to know if this video is useful for you as a working guide. And if so, I'll make more videos like this one. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also, make sure to sign up for Practical Product Management newsletter. Whether you're aspiring to get into product management or are already working as a PM, I'll share with you tools that you can use immediately. So please sign up for this newsletter. The link is in the description below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. I bet you can't do this right. Product principles. Nobody can craft product principles. I actually have had a pretty hard time doing this myself, mostly because of a lack of motivation, but this is not something that you're going to struggle with. Why? Why? Because you're going to bring the pain. Every single day you're going to be out there bringing the pain. Here we go.